Good evening, everybody. So, let's see what I can see. Last week, started speaking a little bit about Tekiat Shofar, about blowing the shofar during Chodesh Elul, about blowing the shofar in Rosh Hashanah. Tonight, I want to speak about not blowing the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. So, as we know, this year we have the first day of Rosh Hashanah is on Shabbat, and therefore there is no Tekiat Shofar. It's interesting when you look back, or you see in the Mishnah and going back historically, there were times and places in which there was, in which the shofar was blown on Shabbat and Rosh Hashanah. But nowadays, that is the universal custom: is that there is no shofar, and it's something which I think we know, we're all used to. We think about it, but when you think about it, there's something quite remarkable, especially considering that from the Torah, Rosh Hashanah is only one day. Nowadays, we have 2 days, even in Eretz Yisrael. Again, historically, in the times of the Rishonim, it wasn't so clear to everybody. There were those certain periods who had only 1 day of Rosh Hashanah in Eretz Yisrael. And so you imagine if there's only 1 day of Rosh Hashanah, and that day is Shabbat, and there is no Tekiat Shofar. For us, it's not, okay, the first day we don't have the Shofar, the second day we have the Shofar. It's unfathomable for us to go through a year of Rosh Hashanah without Tekiat Shofar. But this is what we're told. Rosh Hashanah falls out on Shabbat. There is no Tekiat Shofar. Something. Not talking about the Beit HaMikdash. Oh, we'll get to it. In the Beit HaMikdash there was, but we're talking about outside. So the question is why? First of all, why is it that there is no Tekiat Shofar on Shabbat, on Rosh Hashanah, which falls on Shabbat? So if you were here last week, you were listening, you'll probably say it's La Beva Satan. That is not the answer. This one is not about La Beva Satan. But there is, we'll get to Shema Yavirenu. Skipping forward. So the Bavli and the Yerushalmi have different answers to this. The Yerushalmi says the following. It's actually brought as the Havamina in the Bavli. It's rejected for various reasons. But the idea is this. In the Torah, we have 2 different psukim. The idea of the Yerushalmi is that not blowing the shofar on Shabbat, Rosh Hashanah, which falls on Shabbat, is Doraita. It's not the Rabbanan. It's biblically. The Torah gave us 2 paths, 2 tracks of Rosh Hashanah. There is Rosh Hashanah, which falls out on one of the 6 days of the week, on which there is the shofar, and there is Rosh Hashanah, which falls out on Shabbat, on which there is no shofar from the Torah. Where do we see this? From the psukim. The psukim say, on the one hand, Rosh Hashanah is called Yom Truah, which means a day of Truah, which we understand to be a day of blowing the shofar. The whole thing is cloaked very much in mystery. The Torah does not tell us very much about Rosh Hashanah. It says in Tehillim, it says, Tiku b'chodesh shofar b'keseh leyom chageinu. Rosh Hashanah is characterized by keseh. Things are hidden. On the one hand, that is, the moon is hidden, we don't see it, but it's not very clear. The Gemara says, for example, when the Gemara says, why do we blow shofar, Rosh Hashanah? Rachmana amar tiku. Because it says in the Torah, blow the shofar. It doesn't say in the Torah, blow the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. It never says that. It says Yom Truah. Yom Truah means a day of blowing a musical instrument. What is it? Could be a trumpet. Could be, how do you know it's a shofar? Because the Torah tells us you blow shofar regarding the Yovel year. And there it says Chodesh HaShvi'i, there's a Gzera Shavah, Chodesh Shvi'i. Gemara learns out all the times when it says Truah in Chodesh Shvi'i, it means a shofar, not a trumpet. Okay. But in any event, so it says, on the one hand, it says Yom Truah, and then it's also called Shabbaton Zichron Truah. It's called today, so a remembrance of Truah, remembrance of shofar blowing. When do you have to remember something? When you don't do it. So that's the idea. Says the Yerushalmi, and we still have an allusion to this in our tefillot. In our tefillot, is what we'll say. On the first day, on Shabbat, we'll say Yom Zichron Truah. And on the second day, we'll say Yom Truah. So that says the Yerushalmi, there is a difference between Rosh Hashanah, which falls out on Shabbat, from the Torah. Is it Yom Zichron Truah? And there is therefore no mitzvah, there is no possibility of blowing the shofar on that day, as opposed to a Yom Truah. So that's the suggestion of the Bavli as well. Now, there's a couple of problems with that. Number one, we mentioned the Mikdash. Right, so the Mishnah tells us, the 4th parak of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Tov Shechal Yot B'Shabbat, that when you have the first day of Rosh Hashanah, or the day of Rosh Hashanah, which falls out on Shabbat, so in the Mikdash, the Beit HaMikdash, how you took in, there they would blow the shofar, but B'Medina lo took in. But outside, everywhere else, they would not blow the shofar. How far does this extend? What's considered Mikdash? Is it just in the Beit HaMikdash? Is it in all of Yerushalayim? Different historical periods where in certain Batei Din you could blow or not. Not getting into that now. But the point is there is a distinction that's made. Yes, in the Mikdash, whatever that means, the shofar was blown even on Shabbat. Everywhere else, it's not. But so we see there's a concept of from the Torah that's still a Yom Truah. even when it falls out on Shabbat. That is number one. Number two, says the Gemara as well, that to say that from the Torah there is no Tekiat Shofar on Shabbat would imply that there is some sort of an Isur, maybe an Isur Melacha, a prohibition of blowing the Shofar. It says Shofar is not a Melacha. Gemara says it's called Chokhmah, but not Melacha, meaning it's a skillful activity that needs to be done, but it's not, there is no Melacha, there's no Isur Deoraita. And therefore, says the Bavli, something which some people mentioned here already, says in the name of Rabbah, the answer as follows. Is that the difference between Shabbat and Yom Tov? You know, one of the differences is, on Yom Tov, you're allowed to carry. There is no melacha of hotza'ah. On Shabbat, there is a melacha of hotza'ah, of carry. So we're worried that a person is going to go and he's going to carry the shofar on Rosh Hashanah, and therefore they will be mechalel Shabbat by carrying that shofar. And therefore, in order to prevent that, the Rabbanan made a gzerah to say that don't blow the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. If it's on Shabbat, in the same way, Rabbanan made a gzerah. If the first day of Sukkot falls out on Shabbat, don't take the lulav. If Purim, we wouldn't read the Megillah on Shabbat either. Okay, Purim, it's more straightforward because it's a din Rabbanan in the first place. But yeah, it's a din right, and it's remarkable. Rabbanan came along and said, Gemara tells us the Chachamim have got the power to say, La'kor davar min haTorah b'shev al taseh. The Chachamim can come and passively uproot something from the Torah. So the Torah told us we have to hear the shofar. Chachamim saying, don't hear the shofar. Don't hear the shofar when it's on Shabbat, because we're worried that you might come to carry it. So let me read you the language of the Rambam. The Rambam over here, he changes a little bit from the way that it's written in the Gemara. He says like this. He says, Yom Tov shel Rosh Hashanah shechal liot b'Shabbat, ein torkin b'shofar b'chol makom. So when Yom Tov Rosh Hashanah, as the Shiur falls on Shabbat, we don't blow the shofar. Af al pi shatkiya mishum shvut. Says, even though, what's the problem with Tekiat Shofar? There's no melacha. It would only be at most a din d'Rabbanan. Umina diana yashetokin. From the Torah, it should be that you should blow the shofar. Yavo aseh shel Torah v'yidche shvut shel divrayim. He says, if by blowing the shofar, that itself is going to be a rabbinically prohibited action, and you have a mitzvah aseh from the Torah, so it should be that you should still blow the shofar. Nonetheless, lama ein tokin? Why don't we blow the shofar? Gzera shema yitlenu biyado. We're worried. There's a gzera. You might take it, you might carry it to somebody to go and to blow the shofar on your behalf. And therefore you'll come to carry it for amot in the Reshut Harabim, public domain, or you'll carry it from one Reshut to another, which is also melech totzah. And therefore you will come to be a transgress, isur skila on Shabbat. She'akol chayavin b'tkiya. This is the line that's brought at the beginning of the Gemara. Rambam brings it here at the end. It says, and why does the Gemara have to introduce it in this way? Everybody is obligated in the mitzvah of Tekiat, and not everybody is an expert. Not everybody knows how to blow the shofar. So you notice the way the Rambam said it again. What is the concern? Where are Chazal worried that somebody's going to carry the shofar for amut? So he said, you're going to carry it to somebody who's going to lemisheit kalu. That's what the Rambam said. You're worried you're going to take the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. A person couldn't get to shul, but they have a shofar at home. They just don't know how to blow it. They're going to carry it. They're going to run around town to find a Baal Tokeh for them. And they're going to, in their zeal for the mitzvah, they're going to come and carry the Mechalel Shabbat. The Gemara doesn't say that we're worried that you're going to go and take it to somebody to blow for you. It says what? It says we're worried that somebody's going to go to learn how to blow the shofar. Okay, so if you thought it was strange until now, and this is even more, it sounds a little ridiculous, if we're honest. You're worried that, we're now just over a week before Rosh Hashanah. Okay, the Chazanim are already practicing, the Gabayim have already got the list, they know who they're calling up, the Rabbanim are writing the Drashot, everybody's getting ready. On the morning of Rosh Hashanah, who wakes up on the morning of Rosh Hashanah and thinks, oh, I don't know how to blow the shofar. Let me take the shofar now, go to the Chacham, I'm going to walk across town, and now he'll teach me how to blow the shofar so that I can fulfill the mitzvah. And this is the person that we're worried about. This is what we're so concerned about, the Chazal said, because there'll be some nudnik somewhere who doesn't know how to fulfill the mitzvah and didn't think about fulfilling the mitzvah. He's going to go and he's going to carry, he's going to be Mechalel Shabbat. So because of him, everybody, remember, there's only one day of Rosh Hashanah. So the entire Am Yisrael is going to lose out on the mitzvah of Tekiat Shofar because somebody, somewhere is going to go in here and he's going to carry this. Tekiat Shofar, Chazal tell us, we know what happens when we blow the shofar. We know what happens when we blow the shofar. It says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu moves from Kisei Din to Kisei Rachamim, whatever that means. But there's some, this mystical power, or however you want to explain it. We spoke last week, Labeva Satan, about awakening us as the power of Tshuva. It has such a tremendous thing. We think about Rosh Hashanah, we think shofar. And because some person somewhere is going to go, and he's going to carry it through the Rosh Hashanah, it gets even more strange. When you think about the fact, many sources say that nowadays we don't have Rosh Hashanah. There's a whole machloket when it comes to an Eruv, and when it comes to building, whether we need is one of the conditions for Rosh Hashanah that 600,000 people pass through every day. But there are some sources that say that is one of the main machlokot. We have Shulchan Aruch and the Ramah, and there are some sources that say that if we require that number, so we don't have a Rosh Hashanah anyway. So this gezerah doesn't even apply. It sounds very strange. What were Chazal thinking to nullify the mitzvah of the mitzvah of Tekiat Shofar for all of Am Yisrael? So we can suggest there's more to talk about here. But there are two ways of looking at this. We can look at it on the one hand in terms of maybe the shofar is not as important, or we understand the importance of the shofar and understand the supreme importance of Shabbat. And to the extent in which Chazal were willing to go to impress upon us to prevent even the slightest possibility of Chilul Shabbat, of something, to say that we can take away the mitzvah of Tekiat Shofar. And maybe the merit, the schut that we would have from Tekiat Shofar, we can say the message is we have that merit by the fact that we've been willing to give up our mitzvah to take care of everybody else, to make sure that anybody, the slightest thing that we can do to prevent another Jew from being Mechalal Shabbat as well, that is worth it. That is worth the sacrifice in order to prevent that. Even more to talk about, but I'll come for today. Rabbi Chananya ben Akasha Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu lezakot Yisrael לפי בעלי מיטות ומצוות, שניהם מעדני חפץ למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידע.